Hello everyone, this is a small video clip on endometrial hyperplasia, means thickening of the inner lining of the uterus. The uterus has an inner lining called endometrium. When it becomes thick due to hormonal imbalance, it can lead to heavy menstrual bleeding in women. Endometrial thickness is measured only by sonography, so whenever there is heavy menstrual bleeding, we advise sonography, in which your sonologist may report it as endometrial hyperplasia or thickened endometrium. Endometrial thickness varies according to the menstrual cycle phases. Like during menses, it's very thin, 2 to 4 mm from day 1 to day 3. Then from day 4 to day 7, it can be in the range of 5 to 7 mm. Then day 8 to day 14, it can be in the range of 8 to 11 mm. And day 14 to day 28, it can be in the range of 12 to 13 mm. Any endometrial thickness should be less than 14 mm at any stage of menstruation. While in postmenopausal women, the thickness should never be above 5 mm. Now, what causes endometrial hyperplasia? Hormonal imbalance in the form of excess estrogen and low progesterone, and this leads to excessive proliferation or growth of endometrial lining inside the uterus and heavy bleeding. Mutations in certain genes also can lead to a thickening of the endometrium, and family history of endometrial cancer or endometrial hyperplasia or Lynch syndrome, which involves having different types of cancers in family members. So these are main causes of thickened endometrium or endometrial hyperplasia. Now, these are the risk factors for development of endometrial hyperplasia: PCOS, obesity, nulliparity means no history of having children, early onset of menses, late menopause, diabetes mellitus, high-fat diet, sedentary lifestyle, use of estrogen-containing medicines like tamoxifen, and associated conditions like breast, colorectal or ovarian cancer can also lead to endometrial hyperplasia. There are two types of endometrial hyperplasia. One is without atypical cells. Number 2 is with atypical cells. Atypical cells are precancerous cells. Whenever endometrial hyperplasia is present without atypical cells, the risk of development of endometrial cancer is less than 5% over 20 years. But if endometrial hyperplasia is present with atypical cells, the risk of development of endometrial cancer is about 28 to 33%, and the risk increases with time. Means if endometrial hyperplasia is existing for a longer duration of time, the risk increases even more. How does endometrial hyperplasia present, or what are the symptoms? Abnormal uterine bleeding, heavy menstrual bleeding, post-menopausal bleeding, short cycles means frequently placed menses, and sometimes missed periods with bouts of heavy bleeding in between. Heavy bleeding can lead to weakness, tiredness, lethargy, shortness of breath, and of fatigability because of anemia or low hemoglobin levels. Now, treatment of endometrial hyperplasia includes medical as well as surgical options. Medical management includes giving oral progesterone pills or giving progesterone in the form of injection or an intrauterine device which releases a certain amount of progesterone every day, so the inconvenience of taking pills on daily basis is avoided, while surgical management in the form of hysterectomy is advisable whenever endometrial hyperplasia has atypical cells or if endometrial hyperplasia is persistent or recurrent, causing heavy menstrual bleeding. Thank you very much for watching the video.